we'll start off with Batman 406, Frank Miller writing with Dave Mazzucchelli on the art. This is the third part of 4 of year 1. And of course, once again, it's a really good issue. Maybe my least favourite of the 3 so far.
I would say it definitively is my least favourite.
It's got less, I don't know, bite to it. There's less. Don't get me wrong. The first half's very exciting. The first half is the continuation where Batman's trapped in that building and the SWAT team's going in. There's a lot of fun stuff in the art and the logistics of him sneaking around the SWAT team and jumping out at certain points. All that stuff is really good fun. Like, it's still a good issue. Let me make that clear.
Do you know what is fascinating about this issue to me is when I was reading this, it felt longer. Like, it felt like I was sitting there turning pages for a lot longer than I was on the previous issues. But when objectively less happens, it's more focused than any other issue by a long shot. Like, you know, a good half, maybe 2/3 is this Batman in the building.
Yeah, I mean, actually, yeah, because it obviously starts right at that point, and then we have like Selina and Holly kind of come to watch because just people are showing up to watch what's going on because it's on the news that they've got the Batman cornered in a building, but there are some wonderful details here that I really love. I love Gordon in his narration. He's talking about like the Estelle, he's talking about the police force, he's talking about the corrupt commissioner and that they're doing this, you know, they are hunting the Batman, they didn't care about the woman's life. I mean we, you know, he corrects himself in his own head. He says, no, I mean we, of course.
Yeah, it's very telling, isn't it? I
love that little, he sees, he feels separate from the rest of the law enforcement, and that's kind of a wonderful little touch sort of going on. And you know, the art's great here. I love a lot of the panels of the SWAT team in the building sneaking around. Batman sticking up through like the old chimney, and you know, essentially he's doing the Vulcan nerve pinch for the looks of it.
Pretty much. Hey, if it works, right?
Very much so. Very much so. So yeah, all that stuff's really good. You got Commissioner Loeb up in the helicopter, and Batman's like, you know, tying his wounds, and again Batman's saving the cat, right? This is the, you know, we had the homeless woman, now he's saving the cat, because one of Gordon's big things by the end of this episode, by the end of this issue, is that he is like, you know, he saved that woman when no one else seemed to care. He saved the cat, and he even paid for the damn suit, because later on when Batman sort of sneaks away from this, eventually sneaks away from the building, he breaks into a clothes shop and gets a suit, but he leaves money for it.
That's so Bruce Wayne, isn't it? That he gets a 3-piece suit while running away as Batman. Like, come on, anything will have done. Yeah,
this is one of these things, because I read year 1. This is the first comic book I ever read, was Batman year 1, and I read it, I got it and read it within a month of seeing Batman Begins. Batman Begins is what made me want to go out and try read some comics, and obviously because it was Batman, I started with Batman. And this, of course, has the big, like, there's been little nuggets so far of stuff that obviously they put into year 1, but this big moment where he presses the button on his shoe, and because even in the movie, it takes it off his shoe, but it does come from his shoe. They even keep that little detail in there. But he presses this sonar device which attracts the bats, the backup as he calls it in the movie. But you know, it's this really fun beat where it actually continues. There's some stuff, and I kind of like the idea of showing how reckless the SWAT team are, because one of them like takes a shot out the window and it actually hits one of the cops in the shoulder.
Yeah, and Gordon's trying to get the commissioner on, or whoever it was, so it was commissioner of the captain, being like, look, you call them off. This is going too far. They're not paying attention to the surroundings. They're shooting out windows, and he's just getting no answer. Yeah. They just don't care. They want to wrap this up as quickly as possible because Batman's actually threatened people in power. Nice little touch here that I like is Batman at one point, to sort of save himself, kicks a pillar and, like, you know, drops the roof on a lot of the SWAT team. It's actually a really nice touch because if you remember back to the first issue of this arc, the first thing we see him do is kicking a tree. Yeah. It's a very similar panel, so it's a really nice little touch. It's like, oh, that's coming in handy. That one particular thing we saw him do. That training wasn't useless. Yeah. So really good, and we see the bats coming in, and honestly, maybe the best page of the book in terms of art might be the page where the bats are. The first panel is a close up of one bat at the front, and then the rest of it's the bats swarming around the crowd and everyone kind of ducking and diving. That's pretty good, isn't it? And it's this harsh yellow, like, well, I say harsh. It's soft in that it's like, you know, daylight for the first time. It's sunrise.
Yeah, because it's like a page or two before that. It's a page before you see dawn happening as the bats are flying in front of it. Yeah,
right. But it feels harsh because even though it's a soft color, it feels harsh because no, this is daylight and this is the enemy of Batman.
Yeah, and then the color completely goes as basically just to show that this is Gordon kind of recapping like what happened next. So talking about the suit being stolen, everyone getting tetanus shots at the same time, the hospital's overrun. And then it gets to the stuff with him and Essen where it became normal for them to like go for coffee after work, and then they get stuck out in the rain. He even suspects Bruce Wayne. This is actually one of these little details that I'd forgotten, that he actually does have Bruce Wayne as a suspect because of his backstory. And Bruce has got this elaborate sort of like alibi where he's been in Switzerland or whatever, and he calls Switzerland, and there's a guy pretending to be Bruce Wayne, saying, "Oh, I've been here for weeks and I broke my leg and stuff," and all these casts would conveniently cover the bullet holes that he got shot, where he got shot.
Yeah, and then we see he is actually out there skiing.
Yeah, because he does go there like after all this to sort of like basically help with the alibi essentially.
Yeah.
But we see Selina like knocks out her pimp and says, "Holly, we're getting into a new line of business." So, I mean, honestly, if I have a critique of year one, the worst part of it is probably Selina's stuff, just because it just feels so kind of tacked in there. Because we need to have Selina Kyle's origin in here as well.
Yeah. You feel its inclusion. It's just off. It feels like we're 3/4 of the way through now, and it feels like there's been nothing of note.
Yeah, there's like a page coming up where she's got a cat suit, and like Holly's like, "Oh, we paid like all of her money for this suit." Like I don't know, it feels weird like included. It's probably the only legit complaint I would say from a story point of view. Like, why is this here? It feels kind of just tacked
feels
on.
too late to be kind of going into Catwoman now when you've only got one issue to go, right? And this is I know Catwoman. Okay, she's been around since the start. I get that. I get that's the desire, but
maybe I'll feel a little bit different when we read the final issue in a couple of episodes' time. But at least right now, it feels like a tacked on element that I don't think needs to be there, and doesn't feel as that important to the overall themes of the story. But maybe I'll feel differently when we read the last issue. And we have the moment with Essen where they kiss in the rain, and the art here is very good. The actual art of the kiss is really deep shadows, all that stuff.
Oh yeah, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, but Gordon like feels the weight of what he's done. He feels guilty. He's thinking about his wife. And the final page of this book, the final page, is him sitting on the edge of his bed, holding his gun. He's in his underwear. His pregnant wife is asleep in the bed behind him, and he's talking about how heavy the gun feels in his hand, about what he's done to his wife, about what he's thinking about. And I think reading this issue now, like the vibe I was getting from Gordon, and kind of like how the Essence stuff kind of ties into the themes of everything else, beyond just giving him a flaw so that he's not just this perfect person, to make him feel more like a real character, is that I think the idea of the temptation of Essence, this person that he's not supposed to like have in his life the way that he does, I think is actually a prelude to how his relationship with Batman's going to develop. It's kind of this idea of like he can't accept the idea of like accepting Batman and like, accepting that he needs Batman, even because that's part of what he's saying here in these narration is talking about what Batman's been doing and how like he's a criminal, I'm a cop. It's that simple. But like I'm a cop in a city where we've got corrupt commissioners, corrupt
and
policemen.
I think part of that there is Essen. You say it gives him a flaw. I think that's very I think you kind of understated it a little bit there, because it's the idea that no. He's there realizing, he's a criminal, I'm a cop. It's that simple. But it's not that simple. Yeah. Life's not that simple. And I think Essen is really important in him having a flaw. It is important for him to kind of acknowledge that.
Yeah. But like I say, I think this idea of like his marriage is supposed to, the rules are simple, right? For a marriage. I mean, it's weird to think of it just as rules, but just in the sense that, okay, you get married, you're with that person, you're devoted to that person, you love that person, and doing anything to, break that trust is a sin. It's just, that's you breaking the law of marriage, essentially, right? Sure. And the idea of Essen being this temptation, like, I'm not saying that he's not actually attracted to her or anything like that, but I do think, I was thinking about it as I was reading this issue, that this idea of the temptation of Essen, and it ultimately, like, it's not going to be anything past this, but she's the one ally in the police station, because he says that last issue, right? He talked about how she's the only cop there who's kind of on his side, the only one who's not judging him in the room. And I think she kind of represents the start of the idea of, like, Batman is kind of the affair, not to his marriage, but to his job.
To his job, yeah. I can see that.
And I think she's kind of the prelude to that. And, you know, it ends here as he's talking about this gun, because that's the last line, is this gun feels, you know, the heaviest in my hand that it's ever felt. He can't process what he's thinking about this vigilante. But the last thing he says before that final line is, he saved the old woman, he saved the cat, he even paid for the suit. And he's really questioning where he stands. And it's notable that, you know, Bruce Wayne's small part when he's in the Alps skiing, he says that you know, if this is going to work, I need an ally. I need Jim Gordon. Like, he makes that deduction. He's like, no, I need him on my side.
Yeah.
And yeah, so so as much as I said this is the weakest of the three issues, I want to make it clear that it still does so much that I love, and all the stuff in the abandoned building, all that action stuff is really entertaining. And this final beat, I love. It's just not as amazing from start to finish as the first two.
I can sum this up really easily, because we rate these issues.
Yes.
I'm going to give this one here an 8.5, which is still a great score. Like, objectively, it just is. However, none of the others have been below a 9.
Yes.
So it's not quite as good as the other issues, but it's still, you know, a cut above average, that's for sure.
Yeah. Oh, that's fair. Yeah, I'll agree with 8.5. I think that's fair. So there you go. That's Batman 405. So
406.
obviously 406, sorry. We're back to Detective, of course, next episode, as we're alternating. And I did actually double check this week to see if, like, just in case the release schedule got flipped at any point, if, like, we just assumed it was alternating the whole time. So far, we're still on track. We're still doing it in the right order, release wise.
Oh, good.
So I've checked, and I checked the next few, of course, just to make sure.